Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Nick Gray, and today we're doing another smartphone camera comparison, this time with the brand new Pixel 9a, which just went on sale for $500, and comparing that to the $1,000 iPhone 16 Pro to see how these two devices stack up in everyday use, and to see if you really get a lot more when you pay an extra $500 for the iPhone. Let's take a look. Now, as we start taking a look at photos and videos from these two devices, let's also go over the specs here, because there is a big difference between the cameras on these two devices. Starting off with the Pixel 9a, we have a dual camera setup on the back here with a 48 megapixel main sensor and then a 13 megapixel ultra wide. There's no telephoto camera here, so we are going to be doing some 2x digital cropping on that main sensor. As far as the selfie camera goes up front, this is also a 13 megapixel sensor, but we do get 4K video at up to 30 frames per second from that selfie camera, which is nice to see for a device at this price point, while we also get 4K video from the rear cameras as well. And then, of course, looking at the iPhone 16 Pro, we do have a triple camera setup on the back here with two 48 megapixel sensors for the ultra wide and the main camera, then a 12 megapixel 5x periscope camera, which does really well. And then, of course, up front, we also have a 12 megapixel sensor for that selfie camera, and all of these can record 4K video at up to 60 frames per second.
That sounds crispy.
And this here's a look at side-by-side 4K video capture from both of these devices, starting off with the ultra-wide cameras. Both seem to do fairly well with dynamic range here, but of course bumping into that main camera is always going to give you the best video possible in daylight and low light conditions. But then again, we do have a 2x digital crop on both of these sensors, bumping in a little bit closer, but of course with the iPhone you get a much better zoom range going over to that 5x periscope camera, getting a lot closer into your subject. And this here's a look at video capture from the selfie cameras on both of these devices. Now, looking at the blue sky with the clouds, honestly, I'm really impressed with what we're seeing from the Pixel. Usually, as everybody knows, the selfie camera is the worst camera on most devices, especially cheaper ones, and the iPhone's always had a huge advantage over the competition. But the fact that the $500 Pixel can pretty much go head-to-head with the $1,000 iPhone 16 Pro is maybe a little bit embarrassing for Apple, but also just shows how good Pixel has gotten over the years with their selfie cameras. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, this here is always a great test for dynamic range, going from the clear blue skies on the outside here into a dark alleyway, go from light to dark, and then seeing if we can see all the way through there to the light on the other side. Switching over to the main camera always gives you slightly better dynamic range. Honestly, it looks like the Pixel has the iPhone beat here, then moving into a 2x digital crop on that main sensor. But then of course with the 5x telephoto, the iPhone definitely should come out on top. Well, it's getting dark, so that means it's time for some low light shots and videos with the Pixel 9a and the iPhone 16 Pro. Now, in daylight, both of these devices do perform really well, but in low light conditions like this is where you're gonna see the differences between a $1,000 smartphone and a $500 one. Let's take a look. And here's a look at video side by side on these devices. With the ultra wide, of course, this is going to be the worst camera for video capture in low light conditions, but moving into that main sensor, this is typically where we see both devices perform the best just because the sensor is so much larger. And then of course, moving in to a digital crop on both phones on that main sensor. But the iPhone, again, does have the advantage of being able to go all the way to the 5x telephoto, getting in a lot closer to your subject. comes to the video capture from the selfie cameras on these two phones, I'm sure there's a clear difference in what you're seeing here, not only with the color tone difference between the Pixel and the iPhone, but also just in the overall clarity and noise in the shot. It just looks so much better on the iPhone when compared to the Pixel. But again, a $1,000 smartphone versus a $500 one, you would expect a difference like this. But of course, if you do want to capture the best video possible on both of these devices, you always want to make sure that you flip things around and use that main camera on the back of the phone. It's always a little bit inconvenient just because you can't see what you're actually recording, but if you frame it just right, the resulting video should turn out a whole lot better. That's going to do it for this camera comparison between the iPhone 16 Pro and the Pixel 9a. Let me know what you think of the results in the comments below and whether or not you think it's worth spending double the money for the iPhone versus Google's Pixel 9a. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.